Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 10 p.m.
That's what the ride sign says.
No.
Can I answer that?
Now on News 6, a heated exchange between attorney Ben Crump and our own Mike DeForest. Mike asks if the man who died after riding a roller coaster should have been on the ride to begin with. And he's blasted Orange County and Orlando over what he calls wasteful spending. Now the state's CFO appears to be taking aim at another local county. New in minutes, where he's headed next. And be ready for king tides on the coast and rain around much of our area. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas pinpoints what you can expect.
I have signed and will be filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty in this particular case.
A local state attorney calls for the ultimate punishment, why he calls the murder of an off-duty officer especially cruel. But breaking traffic news just in right now. A deadly crash has shut down I-4 eastbound lanes in Seminole County. Here's a live look at our Department of Transportation camera at Lake Mary Boulevard. We're checking with FHP to learn more about how this happened and how long I-4 eastbound will be closed. We'll have updates at 11 and on clickorlando.com.
Well, this happened about a mile from another deadly crash. Good evening, I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. State Road 46 is back open tonight in Seminole County, hours after a car fell off an Interstate 4 overpass and landed onto oncoming traffic. We've learned the man in that car was 91 years old and lived in Daytona Beach Shores. He died at the scene.
Yeah, troopers say this all happened around 10:05 this morning. FHP says the red car, for an unknown reason, ran off that overpass, hit the median, buried, and landed on State Road 46. There was a second car involved, a white Mercedes. The driver of that car, 21-year-old Sanford woman, was in the turn lane on 46 when the car fell onto her car. Troopers say, incredibly, she was not hurt. We're waiting to learn more about how all this happened.
Their actions in reopening this ride does not suggest that safety is at the forefront of everything they do.
That's attorney Ben Crump. He's representing the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, who died on Stardust Racers ride at Epic Universe. And as they continue to figure out what happened on that ride, they say Universal Orlando is, quote, putting profit over people by reopening that roller coaster over the weekend.
Yeah, the family is upset with Universal's decision. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest pressed Crump with a question many have been asking.
Safety is and always will be at the forefront of everything we do.
Attorney Benjamin Crump rips apart a statement from Universal Orlando's president after the company reopened the Stardust Racers roller coaster, reportedly without telling the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala.
Until you do right, Kevin's blood is on your hands.
Rodriguez Zavala died more than 2 weeks ago after riding the Epic Universe roller coaster. The medical examiner determined he had multiple blunt impact injuries. Crump says his team was making arrangements with Universal to conduct their own roller coaster inspection when they learned Stardust Racers had reopened. Why did you not go to the courthouse a couple blocks from here to try to get an injunction? Did you
Because we trusted Universal.
Rodriguez Zavala was born with spinal atrophy and used a wheelchair. Before his death, Universal's safety rules allowed people in wheelchairs to transfer to the roller coaster's ride vehicle seating with assistance from another member of their party. After Stardust Racers reopened, the rule changed. Now, guests using mobility devices must be able to walk independently.
This change of policy should have been the policy before Kevin got on the ride.
At the time of Rodriguez Zavala's death, Universal's policy stated the Stardust Racers attraction is not allowed for guests with back, neck, or similar physical conditions. Just so everyone is clear, yes or no, did Mr. Rodriguez Zavala have, quote, back, neck, or similar physical conditions?
What you mean? He was fine. He was disabled.
That's what the ride sign says.
No.
Can I answer that? The fact that people are asking that and knowing that he was in a wheelchair, that means that was so vague that it was not a clear warning.
Universal Orlando has previously said that its employees followed procedures and that the roller coaster operated properly before, during, and after Rodriguez Zavala was on it. Mike DeForest, News 6.
Another big story tonight, new at 10, terrifying moments for a local family.
My dad, he has lacerations on his face, his foot is cut, his elbow, and then he has slight concussion.
Her father ends up in the ER after a car comes crashing through their home while he was in the bathroom in the middle of the night. The 77-year-old had just gotten out of the hospital hours earlier, only to end up back in the ER.
Yeah, and tonight his family wants something done to slow down drivers in the neighborhood. They are sharing their story only with News 6 and your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell.
According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the vehicle came speeding down Dorshire Road. When it turned on Blair Drive, it lost control, sped right up through the yard, smashing into the home. You can see the damage now covered with these boards.
Kenyasha Flowers says she had just brought her 77-year-old father home from the hospital hours before this car came crashing through their home.
I was just getting him settled and from the hospital already. And so maybe about, I turned the kitchen lights off at like 2:09 and I get in bed and at 2:21 I hear scream and boo, boo, and my dad starts screaming.
Flowers says he began yelling for help.
And when I run to him in the room, he said he was in the bathroom. And while in the bathroom, the car came through, and luckily he was in the doorway, so it kind of pushed him out. But water was everywhere. My dad is screaming. He's like, he has cuts and blood all over him.
Deputies say 21-year-old Wilkinson Charles lost control of the car, smashed into the house, and then tried to run away before he was caught.
Mr. Charles, you are here based on an allegation of leaving the scene of a crash with injuries and hit and run. Leaving the scene of a crash involving damage to property.
As soon as he crashed, my dad instantly screams. So it's like, I know you heard the screaming. You didn't care that you probably hurt someone. It was just all about, let me just get away.
And the family says this will take several months to repair. But again, they also say the 77-year-old victim who was injured is expected to be okay. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Breaking now at 10 tonight, Brevard County Sheriff calls it an ambush between rival gang members, a shooting spree that sent 3 people to the hospital. It happened around 4:30 this afternoon near the intersection of Clear Lake Road and Minnie Street. That's in the Cocoa area near the Eastern Florida State College campus. Sheriff Wayne Ivey says the victims were in a car parked outside of a chicken and seafood restaurant. Another car pulled up. Several people got out and dozens of shots were fired. A white Toyota was filled with bullets. No word yet on any arrest or how the 3 wounded people are doing right now. They are still in the hospital at last report. We'll post any updates as soon as we get them on clickorlando.com.
Big developments in an illegal gambling investigation in Osceola County. One of the co-defendants of suspended Sheriff Marcos Lopez has entered a guilty plea. Carol Coate is one of 6 defendants charged in an illegal gambling operation. She is charged with running that illegal casino alongside the suspended sheriff and his estranged wife. Coates was charged with racketeering and conspiracy. We're working to uncover the details of her plea deal. But as of right now, we know she will be sentenced at a later date. Lopez has a hearing scheduled for tomorrow. We'll be there and we'll let you know what happens.
Tomorrow morning, Seminole County leaders could be in the hot seat. State CFO Blaise Ngolia has called a press conference just before noon in Seminole County over what he calls government accountability and wasteful spending. Just last week, Orange County and Orlando were in the crosshairs.
In Orange County alone, $190 million of this year's budget is wasteful and excessive, way past what it should be with inflation and population.
Angolia blasted Orange County for spending $223,000 for LGBT youth services that he says, quote, promote gender ideology to youth populations. So we pressed Orange County to respond. Today, they told News 6, while they have not received specifics from the state, they believe the organization cited include the county's $75,000 contract with the Zebra Youth Foundation, which provides housing support and therapy to kids in Orange County. The county has also spent $240,000 on the Urban 3 sustainability tool, which evaluates future growth. Urban 3 was approved by voters back in November. We, of course, will stream tomorrow's news conference from Seminole County on our website, clickorlando.com.
In Volusia County, prosecutors plan to seek the ultimate punishment in the murder of an off-duty police officer. Call the shooting cruel, cold, and calculated. Volusia State Attorney R.J. Larissa announced he is seeking the death penalty against Eduardo Machado, adding that a grand jury has indicted that convenience store clerk for murder. The evidence provided by the sheriff's office shows Edgewater police officer David Jewell often stopped at the Circle K in Ormond by the Sea, where Machado was a cashier. Detectives say surveillance video from September clearly shows Machado with a gun right before he's accused of shooting and killing Officer Jewell in what deputies have called an ambush. 24 shell casings were recovered from the store.
He walked into the Circle K, was buying Polar Pops for his father-in-law he had just picked up from the hospital. How many times have any of us walked into a Circle K?
It's chilling.
Sheriff Mike Chitwood says Machado picked up the gun just 2 hours before the shooting. He has been held without bail ever since his arrest. Defense lawyers have asked for any confession to not be made public.
Do you have any thoughts on motive?
I mean, we don't understand it. But again, he purchases the gun on September 5th, I think it was the 5th, from Buck's Gun Rack, and doesn't pick the gun up again until the morning of that killing, when he talks about not having a good day. And then 2 hours and 6 minutes later, everybody saw and knows what happened. We don't know why. We may never know why.
For a closer look at Officer Jewell's life and what the surveillance video shows, look for his story on the homepage of clickorlando.com.
Well, Monday certainly got off to a rainy start. Now super high tides called king tides could cause flooding.
Meteorologist Jonathan Keggis is pinpointing it all for you.
Yeah, and it's because of that big bright full moon that we have outside right now. Coastal flood advisory is in play through at least Wednesday evening. We'll talk much more about that and time out some of those rain showers that are out there still tonight, coming up at about 10:17.
After more than a week of wild waves from 2 hurricanes, how our beaches are holding out. We'll see firsthand what beach renourishment is doing to get results.
Taking somebody and putting them behind bars for a situation that maybe they can't control is not probably the best interest.
Beds instead of jail cells. Next on News 6, how Orlando is teaming up with a homeless shelter and why this partnership is needed.
You're watching News 6 at 10. We are live on a Monday night. We're covering Point Siena, Ponce Inlet, and all of Central Florida. Now on News 6, spending the night in a shelter instead of a night in jail. Today, the city of Orlando approved a funding agreement with the Coalition for the Homeless.
Now, the shelter will house people picked up by police so they are not locked up. Your Orlando community correspondent Tylisa Hampton explains how it will work.
At the end of the day, we all want a roof over our head.
On Monday, the Orlando City Council approved a $150,000 funding agreement with the Coalition for Homeless of Central Florida.
We do provide them a warm bed, a hot shower, a hot meal. Again, starting the next day on the right foot.
The agreement will let police take those in need to the shelter for the night under the city's camping ban.
The OPD drop-offs have significantly risen, specifically with women and children.
Last year, the state banned local governments from allowing people to camp or sleep on public property. Since then, some outreach groups have said it has been challenging locating those who are homeless as they are going deeper in the woods. This year, 139 arrests have been made in relation to prohibited camping in Orlando, Ocoee, Winter Park, and Apopka through September 30th.
Taking somebody and putting them behind bars for a situation that maybe they can't control is not probably the best interest.
The agreement's funding comes from the department's current year budget. The mayor says it's necessary.
Oh, it absolutely makes a difference. Without the funding, not being able to provide the services, that would be very detrimental to our community.
Well, I think every shelter in the area is at capacity. It's really heartbreaking. We need more programs and services.
When it comes to how this funding could impact the state's DOGE audit the city is currently undergoing for wasteful spending, officials tell us that it's unrelated to it. Reporting in Orlando, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Central Florida's coastline cannot seem to catch a break from the rough weather, but how are the dunes holding up?
Your South Patrick Shores community correspondent James Sparvero returned to an area where they're trying to fight beach erosion with renourishment.
Brevard County tells me that after a week of hurricane swells and strong winds, this is the worst of the erosion we're seeing on beaches. I'm at SPRA Park, and I just talked with Mike McGarry. He manages the county's beaches program.
The beaches have clearly been beat up by the wind and waves over the last week. So the beaches are adjusting and getting narrow, but for the most part, they're doing their job. Only in a few scattered places have I seen the waves high enough that they've actually cut into the dune line. Wednesday, Thursday this week will be among the highest tides of the whole year, and it's going to be windy this week. So all of that make it a tough week for beaches.
So Otmar with me now, who lives oceanfront. That's correct. He's telling me how the last beach renourishment project here is working right now. You're saying the dunes are doing their job.
We are absolutely safe now. The water is higher than last year, and the dunes is still here, so it's perfect.
Are you still concerned now, though, when you see the new damages being done to the beaches?
Because this is going to come back. You can see it every year because this ridge comes and goes.
The next renourishment projects have already been planned years in advance. Like Otmar, who I just met, Mike with the county tells me he expects the beaches will recover from these storms naturally too. In Brevard County, I'm your South Patrick Shores community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
All right, let's not take up any of Jonathan Kegas' time tonight because he's got to get to that 7-day.
He's an important guy.
It's delicious.
No
looking.
pressure. Yeah. Hey, guys, I have some pictures to show you tonight.
Yeah.
Some of that erosion going to be caused by this thing. The moon, of course, that rules the tides, but it is big. It is bright out there. The supermoon, Kim, Florida Shores, great shot here of the bright moon that is out there. Again, you can submit these pictures to pin it. Click Orlando.com/pins. That QR code will take you there. Or better yet, on the free News 6 weather app, download that. There's a section you can upload those pictures right from your phone. There it is right there. We'll take a trip just up the beach closer to Ormond Beach tonight. Here's another great shot. Again, that moon is bright. It's illuminating a lot of things that don't have street lights out there. But again, it is causing some issues along the coast, certainly helping the tides to be a little bit bigger than they otherwise would be because we have king tides. A couple of things going on here. First and foremost, the moon is making one of its closest approaches to the Earth. We call that perigee, so that's helping to add some extra gravitational pull to the tides. But the sun is also lined up with the moon kind of really increasing and maximizing that gravitational pull, and that's why we have the higher than normal high tides. going forward for the next several days. Also, we still have that easterly breeze. That's why we have the coastal flood advisory in play for pretty much the entire Florida coastline. Of course, high tide being the most susceptible to that. Daytona Beach, we're up tomorrow morning just before 8:30. Ponce Inlet just before 9 o'clock. Cocoa Beach coming in at high tide at 8:20. We'll go to low tide and then back to high tide later on tomorrow evening. So again, just be on the lookout for some minor coastal flooding, not brought on by any of the rainfall over the past several days. That is completely the tidal force there, the gravitational pull of the moon there. A couple of downpours still lingering this evening. Now, a combination of some of the rain that has fallen and the strong northeast wind we've had over the past really several weeks to a month with the hurricanes we've had out at sea. And now, of course, the tidal influences. It's pushing back on the St. Johns River. We are still in moderate flood stage tonight, and we are going to stay there really for the foreseeable future. This is a agonizing river to live along. I know our friends along there, we know that, and we're going to continue to watch that over the next several weeks as we slowly get back below flood stage. Now here's a look at tomorrow. Temperature is going to get back into the mid to upper 80s. Rain chances at 50% tomorrow. So going down a little bit. Again, pinpointed that throughout the course of the afternoon into the evening. There the overnight hours are, and we have a couple of those stray downpours pushing through. We'll see the same thing again tomorrow afternoon, I think, to a lower degree to what we saw today. Nonetheless, I think we're going to do a pretty good job tomorrow of drying things out once we get to the evening of tomorrow. That's going to set the stage for a pretty dry Wednesday, I think. And then once we move into Thursday, we'll bump up rain chances again slightly to 40% just to have our next cold front come through, really our first big one of the season. High temperatures in the low 80s by the weekend. That humidity going to be wiped clean by the second half of the weekend.
I'm News 6 investigator Louis Bold, and we've all gotten them, those unsolicited text messages offering a new job. One of those texts led to a Central Florida man losing thousands of dollars. We'll tell you how to avoid being a victim coming up. We've all gotten them, those unsolicited text messages offering a new job. I'm News 6 investigator Louis Bold, and one of those texts led to a Central Florida man losing thousands of dollars. It's this week's Schemes and Ripoffs Alert.
But what he was saying was to use...
He's asked us not to use his last name, but 75-year-old Dennis from Ocala says it started with a single text message. We're currently offering a flexible part-time position, which you can work in your free time. Daily wages range from $50 to $3,000.
In a matter of a month, I could make $1,000, couple $1,000. Yeah, that would support my income.
Okay.
Not bad. That was my intention of it.
Dennis responded to the text and started communicating with who he thought was his new business managers, Arabella Kensington and Antonio Rodriguez. The job was supposedly with Warner Brothers. The tasks were simple: watching YouTube videos and hitting like. Each video was supposed to earn money.
And then they would pay me $3 for that particular one.
Just for liking that?
Just for liking that.
Okay. But then came the opportunity to make more money. They introduced Dennis to the world of cryptocurrency. They had him download crypto apps and taught him to trade. But there was a caveat. He would have to put up his money first. In this task, if he put up $5,200, his return would be $8,448. Dennis jumped all in. Over the course of months, he took on many tasks and made numerous transactions, putting his money up front. How much money total did you send in?
Probably, and I've not really looked it up, I would tell you in excess of $15,000.
But there was always an excuse why he never got his big payday.
I don't know where the money went. I have no clue. They denied having it.
The part-time job that was supposed to make him money instead cost him thousands.
Did they ever pay you?
No.
Okay.
In my mind, I wanted them to say, okay, we're going to reimburse you. They never have said that.
This story proves when you get those random text messages, the best thing to do is just hit delete. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at theinvestigators@wkmg.com. I'm Louis Bolden, News 6.
Thanks for joining us for the news. You can find all of tonight's stories plus breaking news on News 6 Plus.
Enjoy your night. We'll see you later.